Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to be sure. I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Pauline Brooks, and I am board president for the California Alliance of Retired Americans. Welcome to our 22nd annual convention. This is our first all virtual convention. So we thank you in advance for your patience with any technical problems we will be having. From including several, we have packed the agenda for today. We have some great speakers, and we will be hearing from some questions. And at this point, I'm going to say it. Please make it a question that can be answered and not editorial. Thank you. So that we can fulfill our full day here. If you have any technical support needs that cannot be solved via the chat, we have a phone support line which you can reach by calling 510-663-4086. So we will move forward. Technically, for many of us, this is an adventure. Welcome, welcome. And we have a special Kara friend here who is also a full part of our convention. And he is none other than our own John Bowser, who is Senior Advisor to Social Security Works. And of course, we all who are 50 and over know him by I turn it over to John, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. And I did love your choice of words, which is we apologize in advance for any technical difficulties we will be having, rather than we may be having. That's usually the story on Zoom meetings. But welcome everybody to the very first Kara totally virtual convention. There have been 22. I've been at quite a few of them over the years, because we at Social Security Works just want to say to Kara that there is no better ally anywhere in America than this group. And we have done so much work already this year together. So many rallies outside hospitals and outside congressional offices to try to hold people accountable for the votes that they have been taking. And as many of you know, and many of you are participating in, this time period right now in the state of California is all about Prop 50 and making sure that Prop 50 gets passed. We are going to have to flip the House in 2026 in order to stop any more horrid legislation like the big ugly bill that was passed earlier by reconciliation. And if we don't flip the House, there's going to be another one of those coming down the pike in 2027. So we've got to make sure that we stop this. It's very dangerous, especially for seniors. It's dangerous for everybody, but seniors are one of the biggest targets of this kind of legislation. As you probably know, is the biggest Medicaid cuts in history by far, plus $500 billion coming out of Medicare. that doesn't get talked about very much. Right at this moment, the focus is on our junior seniors in a lot of ways, and that's important for CARA too, and for us at Social Security Works, because the Affordable Care Act subsidies not being extended affects people mightily in the years when they're most likely to get sick without health insurance, right before they can get to that wonderful program called Medicare that has made, along with Social Security, the biggest difference in the lives of American seniors in American history. These are the two most successful domestic programs of all. So, without getting too much in the weeds here at the beginning of this program, just understand that passing Prop 50 is an absolute necessity. The bear, and I have a few of them behind me. Okay, those pictures were taken in Alaska, I admit it. But the bear in California is going to roar on November 4th. This is a must. And I urge everybody to do what I am doing, which is show up every Monday at 12 noon on the CARA phone bank for yes on Prop 50. The vote is yes. Get that in everybody's head. And this has been a super effective phone bank. Rob will tell me whether we got to 100. I don't think we quite got to 100 last Monday. We are pushing 100 people on the phone bank, and that is amazing. We're making thousands and thousands of calls. They're not hard calls. They're fun. Most of them are yeses, and some of them are I don't know enough about it, and then you can persuade people, and they become yes. And the ballots have been sent out in the mail. I've gotten mine. Send it right back, and you can tell people if they get their ballot and send it back. The best news is they'll get taken off the list, and they won't be called anymore. So once their vote is in. So this is a critical time in the state of California. And the way I've been saying it is that we, for once, are the center of the universe. We are Delphi. In ancient Greece, Delphi was thought to be the center of the universe, and that's why they had the Oracle of Delphi there. We are the center of the electoral universe. We all know that we all have that feeling that sometimes our votes don't really count, like in the Electoral College. We still got to vote, but how much difference does it make? Right now, we make the biggest difference in America. When they go low, we fight back, and we are fighting back. I am the guy in the movie Grease. Pauline did refer to my Sha-na-na career. I'm the guy who in 1978, during the big scene at the Hop, when Sha-na-na sang every song, and Cha-Cha Di Gregorio and Danny Zuko were doing the limbo, I'm the guy who was somehow talking about what's going on in this regime that we have in Washington and this party that appears to be trying to decimate the lives of Americans, because I'm the guy who said, how low can you go? How low can you go? Say it with me. How low can you go? How low can you go? And it does seem as if there is actually no bottom. So when they go this low, we fight back. And that's my message for today. As Bowser would put it, bum 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 dang a dang dang a ding a dong ding. Yes, on Prop 50. Ooh, those low notes are good in the morning. Now, my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend and doing a great job as the executive director of the California Alliance for Retired Americans, Rob England.
John, thank you so much for being here and for introducing the convention. Hi all, Rob England, Executive Director for CARA. Today I am going to review the events that we're going to be conducting today. So after my introduction here, we are going to hear from our Senior Vote Committee. Senior Vote is our electoral program that we run every 2 years. And then after that, we will go into what many of you are coming here for, our California Gubernatorial Candidate Forum.
Thank you all for having me here today. I'm Leo Zacky. If you guys recognize the last name, that means you're definitely someone who's been in California a long time because of Zacky Farms. That was my family's business that was started here in 1928 by my great grandfather and grew into being a wonderfully large company that was providing the highest quality poultry for everybody across the country and even internationally. We pioneered antibiotic free. We were the largest organic turkey producers in the nation. We employed 4,000 people here in the state of California. We were the largest second chance employer. We hired immigrants. We gave opportunities to people in California. But unfortunately, the unfair business practices and over regulatory processes and the high taxes eliminated our ability to be a competitor in the global stage. And because we exclusively produced in California, that was our biggest hangup. And unfortunately, we had to shut down, and all those people lost their jobs. So I'm running because I am someone who has business experience on large scale and in small scale with commercial real estate property, with restaurants, startups, and also in the large scale where people get thousands of jobs. And I've also been in agriculture, which is the number one revenue generator for the state and something that is constantly overlooked and underutilized. So having these backgrounds, I've developed and spent my life here in California. I'm a fourth generation Californian. Family's been here for about 120 years. So I know all the stories of this state. I know what it has been, what it can be, and what the potentials are. And so I've developed common sense solutions for everybody. It's not about political party anymore. It's about policy that's going to benefit everyone. We have to focus on the fact that the decisions made in our legislature and in the executive branch all impact everybody, that we are all on the same team, and that is Team California. I want to cultivate that kind of mindset where we can actually work together and focus on actually achieving tangible goals that will increase the quality of life for everybody. I want people to be able to afford homes in California, get the quality education they deserve, be able to start their own business, become their own independent revenue generators themselves, and we can break free from the burdens of taxation by allowing people to utilize the resources in California. We have to utilize things like water, which we are horribly mismanaging. We have to collect it and utilize it here so we can have cheap, abundant food, which brings down the cost of living, and then export that for profit, which brings in an additional revenue stream into the state. Water, oil, timber. We have resources that are not being utilized that can become revenue generators so we can grow California's wealth, the amount of money that we can spend. We don't have to focus on cutting when we can increase our overall net positive and only focus on cutting taxes once we have those revenue streams in place. It's essentially the concept of mailbox money. We can do that with the resources that are available. But I want to make sure that the people in California, especially the builders of this state, are taken care of. The people that have worked so hard and are now in their twilight years in retirement, wanting to enjoy life and be able to afford it, but also receive the proper care that they need in their aging years. We need to make sure that people are taken care of, and we can do this in a pragmatic manner by, again, increasing the source of revenue without digging directly at taxation. We need to lower our taxes. We need to partner with the federal government because we pay so much into taxes that pay for other states as well to bring that revenue back into California to help build out these projects, to help take care of the people in California so we can become far more self-sufficient. The time for fighting amongst each other is over. We have to unify because the problems that we are all facing are irrelevant of party lines. So I'm here to bring business sense, common sense, practical, and realistic goals that are totally achievable with the help of the Californian people, understanding that the political party fight needs to take a step back and we need to focus on coming together as one state, as one team, and that's Team California. I'm looking forward to doing that for all of you. And I also have ventures in other great companies. One, we do protein replication with plants that saves tons of water and increases food. We're partnering with the UN to help end world hunger. And another company where we take industrial plastic waste and we convert it into useful things like graphene, which are used in electronics, which can really help stimulate the economy here in California. So there are tons of things and projects I'm working on to help that. Also ending the homeless crisis by understanding it's a mental health issue. There are so many things I'd love to talk to, but let's get to the questions. We have to make sure that people are taken care of in their aging years, and safer is, well, you have to make sure that people are properly qualified for the jobs. And my uncle, he has an elderly and assisted care home operation that he runs, and making sure that the people that he employs are trained properly and have all the skills they need to take care of people is paramount. But making sure that people are actually doing their job and taking care of the folks that they're supposed to. And we've seen the lapses in care in facilities, and it's a shame that people are willing to throw people aside like that. So we need to make sure that if there is issues of elder abuse, that there are real consequences that people face, and those people are removed from that industry and barred from being able to practice in it. But making sure that people get the training and those opportunities is what we need to focus on, especially utilizing funding with Medi-Cal. We need to make sure that companies aren't being over taken advantage of it, but they also can't be taking advantage of the people out there. It's a balancing act. These entities are in business to turn a profit, and so they have to be able to do that, but at, I think, reasonable margins. But we also have to make sure that the system isn't getting overloaded as well. So we need to make sure that there is a fair way for people to get paid and for the medical care to get taken care of. But we have to make sure that the businesses are still able to finance those other means. And you're talking about thousands of jobs as well. So we don't want to put people out of work. Well, again, oversight, I think, comes from having a standard, right? You have to have a baseline standard that people can check, and there should be check boxes that somebody could be able to come and audit a place and say, you are meeting these quality standards. For example, like I know with the prison system, the quality of food that the prison inmates have to get are A, but our schools, they have the free range to purchase A, B, C, or D grade food. And so it's having a set standard, especially for our elderly. It should only be top quality stuff. But we have to do it in a way, again, where you have people that can come in and say, are you meeting these standards? And if people are reporting that there is elder abuse, or that they're seeing that their parents or loved ones aren't receiving adequate care, that reports can be made, and then actually have people come and follow up and say there is an issue or there was a mistake, and making sure that, again, there are punishments in place for people that are permitted that are carrying out elder abuse. I think we need to have a baseline level of care for everybody. You shouldn't be refused treatment. God forbid you come in with a horrific injury like from a car crash or something. You should be able to get that treatment and not bear a insane cost at the end of it. But when you look at things like the NHS in the UK, single payer system, it's not very good. I mean, even look at our own Veterans Administration. I mean, that's essentially a single payer system to a degree. And the amount of time that people have to wait to be seen, the quality of care isn't there. And I do believe that people need to have the ability to have their own private medical insurance as well. There is a balancing act here, but we have to be able to construct financial means to be able to cover these costs. And by increasing our revenue streams with solutions that I've developed, and I can get into more details with later, that's how we can increase the amount of capital that California has to then take care of these things. But, is it a blanket term? Who's eligible for that if you were to go single payer? Is that everybody? Is it just Californians? Is it refugees? I mean, there are so many other concerns that I don't think a blanket single payer is going to be the way forward. We have to have alternate means, and yes, there should be a baseline level care for everybody. Well, I don't want to see the president having to do what he did, but when our mayors and our police forces and our governor isn't doing their job and protecting people and protecting businesses, when these riots get out of control and violence takes place, that's unfortunately when somebody has to step in. And because of the shortcomings of our leadership here in California, Trump had to do that. I'm not a fan of that type of behavior, but if the safety of people is at stake and we're not seeing the response from our local and state leaders, then we're left with no other option. But you cannot leave we, the people, Californians, high and dry to be having to deal with violent rioters, because that's what it was. So being able to have responsible leadership under my guys, we will not have violent outbursts like that. We need to be able to control that. I'm all for a good protest, but when it starts turning violent and people start getting injured and businesses start getting burned, that's when you cross the line. No, this is clearly a waste of our money. It's Gavin Newsom essentially running a fiat campaign against for his 2028 presidential run. There's no doubt about that. And I think there's a lot of misinformation revolving around this. Look, Prop 50 violates what we already have in our state constitution, where we, the people, are supposed to have a say in how our districts are drawn. And so suspending it for several years is ridiculous. And then redrawing it. Look, I would love to have proper redistricting where you actually drew in and took into account the actual populations that are there, the industries are there. Because when you start cutting up cities into multiple congressional districts, like for example in Lodi, it's being split into 3 different congressional districts. How do you adequately bring in federal funds to help the people that live in those communities and help support those industries there? I mean, if this is all going to be a total war effort against Donald Trump, then we're missing the fact. Trump is going to be out of office. He's not going to be reelected. That's not possible. We will survive through this. Um, but there is a lot of misinformation surrounding this, and the fact that it is violating our state's constitution, I think, is the big underlying factor here, that we, the people, are losing out on our voice. And by being tricked into wanting to vote positively for this is only taking away your rights and what's written down in our state constitution. Disability, civil rights. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
That
Like-
was the question.
Okay, so civil rights for people that are disabled, like having adequate access to buildings, like ADA compliant stuff, or I'm trying to understand this concept.
If you'd like, I can ask another question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to understand that. I mean, I think everybody should have access to everything. There shouldn't be any limitations. Opportunities for disabilities.
For people with disabilities.
I mean, there's plenty of opportunities out there for people to have gainful employment, but we have to make sure that there's an environment in California that can allow businesses to thrive here. When you chase businesses out with overregulation and high taxes, the job market's going to dry up pretty quickly. I mean, at this point, like, so many people can work remotely. Why would they need to base their operations here in California and pay California insurance and pay California wages? It doesn't make sense. So we have to create a fair business environment where we can do that. I think everybody should be eligible for a job, but we have to make sure that the businesses can come here and operate and do so. Well, we have an invasive bark beetle that's destroying our hardwood trees and causing a lot of these wildfires to get out of control. We have to properly fund CAL FIRE, but we have to build out water storage to allow them to have access to water where they can actually extinguish these flames, using also remote drone firefighting stations to help knock these flames down before they get out of control. But we do have to make sure that we are utilizing our resources. Again, creating water abundance, eradicating the bark beetle, and utilizing our resources like fossil fuels here in California so we can have cheap, affordable fuel for everyone and for industry.